Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Newsroom. I'm your host, Omar Khalid. But today is Friday, the 11th of March, 2022. These are the stories that we'll be discussing during the course of the show. We'll begin with the Indian aggressive designs as far as Pakistan is concerned. A spate of aggressive designs we've seen in the past as well. And of late, what has happened is that an unarmed surface-to-surface missile that was launched from neighboring India, of course, landed in Pakistan's airspace and in the Punjab province. Now, the ISPR held a conference and gave details about that, about how much damage it could have inflicted, but of course, it did not. Nevertheless, it is a huge risk and also a huge question mark as far as what India's aggressive designs are moving towards, which direction is all of that going to. This is going to be our first segment. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about Washington that needs to investigate the US airstrikes in Syria that has killed civilians. It is the United Nations War Crimes Panel that told this to a news conference very recently. The investigators also called for findings to be made public and for those responsible for violations to be held to account. Finally, good things are happening as far as accountability is concerned internationally. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, Iran on Thursday accused the United States of working to complicate efforts to restore a 2015 nuclear deal. We know that the 8th round of talks is ongoing between the P5+1 and Iran. And of course, there are a lot of question marks from both sides. Iran wants certain compliances as far as the previous nuclear deal is concerned. The West does not seem that adamant to give all the conditionalities that Iran has put forward. Where is all of that going to? Last story of the day. Let's begin with our first segment, ladies and gentlemen, and that concerns the Indian aggressive designs. And of late, we've again seen another blatant example of that. After the Pulwama incident, this is another incident. We did not give any tea because there was no man on that missile, but it was an unarmed missile on top of that. Was it a warning? Was it a mistake? Was it something else? More in the following report. All right, and of course, we will be going directly to our guests that are here. For this segment, we've been joined by two guests. Let me introduce them to you one by one in the studios. We've been joined by Bilawal Afridi Sahab. He is a member of the parliament. He belongs to erstwhile FATA. Bilawal Afridi Sahab, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And online, we've been joined by Lieutenant General retired Raza Khan Sahab. He's a defense analyst. Raza Khan Sahab will be joining us shortly, and as soon as he does, we'll take his point of view as well. Let's begin with you, Bilawal Afridi Sahab. Bilawal Sahab, when it comes to India and its aggressive designs, and we've seen different examples of that in the past as well. The last huge example that we saw of Indian airspace violation was, of course, the Pulwama incident. And we all know what happened. We all know how Pakistan responded as well, in kind, not in kind, but of course very diplomatically and very structurally. What happened this time? Do you feel, in your point of view, that this missile, which was unarmed, had it been armed, it would have been a totally different equation by now. But it was unarmed, it entered Pakistani airspace. A, do you think it was deliberate? B, do you think it was an accident? And C, do you feel that there were some other machinations going on from the Indian side as far as this is concerned?
Exactly. As you mentioned, the aggressive design against Pakistan, this is very valid point, as you mentioned, that this situation is not just being happening from last 1 or 2 days. This is from 2019. The good example that I can give in this situation is, as you know, that the two of the aircraft were you can call it hit down by Pakistani armed forces, and once again they showed that we are ready for the safety of our country, and we want to show to the national or international level that we don't have any issues with India. Actually, India wants to create problems for Pakistan because of the reason that we are looking is the economy, and you can call it the blocks which are already working with Russia as well as with the US. But unfortunately, India is still trying their best that we should develop more negativity about Pakistan. But head-offs to the armed forces of Pakistan, who once again shows that we are always
because we are always ready, Bilawal Afridi Saab, and that has also been told to the media through this media tete-a-tete with the DGISPR. But at the same time, what India is doing and the whole timing of it raises a lot of questions. Lieutenant General retired Raza Muhammad Khan Saab joins us online. Sir, thank you very much to have joined us. Incidents like what happened on the 9th of this unarmed missile that landed in Pakistani airspace, do you feel things like these are expected from the Indian side, looking at the whole regional scenario that is engulfing our subcontinent as well?
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, let me say that this is not something new. If you recall, in the last 1 year or so, 4 Indian submarines violated, tried to violate our territorial waters, but they were detected in time by the Pakistan Navy, and they had to beat a hasty retreat. These are not ordinary isolated episodes, and usually, they could be aimed at reconnaissance of our border areas. It usually is also related, to elections in India, which at this time were in the UP, or to create excuses for false flag operations in Pakistan later on. Of course, it could also be there to gauge our politico-military reactions. But Pakistan's response always has been mature, timely and appropriate, and very balanced, and I think the whole world has noted that. And there has been no jingoistic media overhype in Pakistan either. So the message to India was also conveyed that our airspace and our waters are under constant and effective watch and vigilance, and that violation of Pakistani air or waters would never be tolerated. Now, all these could have serious provocations with grave consequences. We all know that, they endanger international and subcontinental civilian aircraft, and also at sea. They could have endangered international shipping with disastrous consequences. And if it was a missile whose guidance system had failed, it was even more worrisome to the region, to the world, Pakistan and India, as it could endanger other countries if this object was actually armed. Now Pakistan is aware of the serious consequences, and I think India should now respond as soon as possible, so that the world and Pakistan and the entire region knows what India is doing. As I said earlier, it could also have serious ramifications if this was a willful act by some rogue RSS-influenced Indians. And if that was the case, it would still be more dangerous, as Indian strategic weapons would have fallen in the wrong hands.
All right. Now, looking at the history of that missile and, of course, the fact that it was unarmed, I'd like to ask your point of view, General Saab, because you understand military dynamics much more than us civilians do. Do you feel that the fact that it was unarmed was deliberate? Was it a kind of a warning from the Indian side, or was it something else? Also, we all know that there were recent polls held in UP, and the BJP gained power in that again, despite all the different apprehensions that have been put forward. Do you feel it also has some kind of a political connotation to it?
Absolutely. It could be a combination of all these hypotheses. It could also be a deliberate act to test our defenses and note our responses. Again, this is a big provocation. So I think the earlier India speaks about it to clarify its position, the better it would be. If you have seen the Indian media, I think it is again unexpectedly very quiet. While all these episodes have been prominently, reported in the international media, particularly even in the media of the countries who are supposed to be very friendly to Pakistan. So while Pakistan continues, to investigate and does the forensic audit of whatever is falling in here, I think it is India which needs to respond immediately.
All right. Kindly stay with us online. I'll revert back to my guest in the studios. Bilawal Afridi Saab, India needs to respond very quickly. And of course, the Indian envoy was also called in the Foreign Office, summoned there, and a strong protest was registered with him as well. And India was requested to have a thorough and transparent investigation of the incident, which should be shared with Pakistan. What kind of investigation do you feel India will do? Do you feel that India knew about this beforehand? Do you also feel that looking at the political situation in India and the fact that BJP has always garnered votes on the basis of its rivalry with Pakistan or its anti-Pakistan rhetoric, the fact remains that the number of people that are spewing venom against Pakistan have increased manifold over the last couple of years. Do you feel it could also have some kind of a political inclination, this incident, so as to maybe continue on this anti-Pakistan rhetoric in India?
Well, this is like you can call it. This is very absolutely right, that India elections is going to be held soon. So this election also has an issue with the airspace coming, the aircraft coming to the airspace because of this reason, that it is related to the election of India. But my concern about this issue is that India always try that they should develop negativity for Pakistan, and they are doing not for the first time. They've been doing from long time, and they've been doing again and again. So now we all Pakistan condemned this issue, that they have done violation of Pakistan airspace, and definitely the Foreign Office should ask the response of India as soon as possible to tell them why, what is the reason behind this. The election is the reason, the Indian election is the reason that they are doing this again and again, or there is some other problems. But where I'm looking, this is actually the international blocks, as I have mentioned, that China is doing his best. Economy wise, and US, we have some problems from, you can call it US, or you can call it the economy wise. If you look into the US situation, the economy of US is collapsed, where I'm looking. So right now, as I have mentioned, India used to have a good relationship with the Russia, and even the Russia already bought some aircraft from the India.
They continue to have a good relationship
exactly
with Russia.
But now, as they know that China and Russia and Pakistan, they are on one page, and this bloc wants to bring something good for the you can call it Central Asian countries. Now this is the reason that India wants to come back to the Russia bloc, where exactly India is trying how to get Pakistan out of this bloc. But definitely, once again, head offs to the armed force, which have once again shows that we are always ready to care of our country, and definitely we will save our country from these kind of activities. And especially one more thing I just need to add here is that about the China. As you know that China has a very good relationship with Pakistan, and India does not have a good relationship with the China. So now China is trying their level best that economy wise, China, Central Asia and Russia, they are doing very well. As I can give you the very good example of Pakistan become a member of TIR agreement now. So from this, what we can do is that our relationship with the Central Asia's, China's, I mean like the other Central Asia countries, as well as with Russia and with these all countries, that from TIR agreement, there will be a positive sign for Pakistan, for the people of Pakistan, and as well as for the Central Asia. And that is that our economy one day will come, that our economy will be, inshallah, will be in good position. As well as one more thing I just need to mention is that India should work on their election instead of doing illegal activities or involved in illegal activities. We civilians of Pakistan are always ready to give response and will be always responded.
All right. Raza Khan Saab, coming to you, is it a deliberate provocation from Indian side as far as this unarmed missile is concerned? Did India want a deliberate reaction from Pakistan? That, of course, Pakistan hasn't given. Was it also to further escalate tensions in the region? What's your take on all 3 points?
One cannot at this time say whether it was deliberate or there was a genuine mistake. Therefore, I think, as I said earlier, the earlier India responds to this, the better it would be. But we need to understand that Pakistan was not aware, when this object was launched, whether it was armed or whether it was not armed, whether it was something which was, of a conventional nature or a nuclear nature. So therefore, there were a lot of question marks, and, you need to know that responses, they vary in accordance with the information that the other side has. So again, this could have had serious consequences, and the next time, Pakistan may actually respond in kind, which will have disastrous consequences for peace in the region, for, international aviations and international
shipping. Does India really want peace in the region? Does India really want peace in the region? Is India really going towards a peaceful solution of the region?
Well, I think at least this is what they profess. But actually, whatever they say, it's always a pack of lies. And right now, if they want to test our resolve, I think they should not do it again, because they have seen it, in response to the Indian provocation in the past. And, of course, they were humiliated once Pakistan responded. So it is again in the interest of India itself that it does not test Pakistan's resolve once again. And if it does, then obviously they would be defeated as they were defeated in the past.
All right. Lieutenant General Saab, another question as far as Pakistan's military might is concerned. We've all seen the unveiling of the new squadron and the new aircraft as well. And Pakistan, is, of course, has all the abilities to respond in kind whenever something like this happens. But as far as this incident or even the incident in the past in Pulwama is concerned, you talked about the Indian submarine entering the Pakistani waters as well, and it was not the first time that it has happened in the last few months. It is a concerted effort by our not so friendly neighbor to instigate some kind of an aggressive response from Pakistan. And of course, Pakistan is being extremely careful as far as its response is concerned, and this is what the DGISPR also noted when he talked to the media persons. What needs to be done now by Pakistan in the waiting for the response, the official response from India as to what happened as far as the unarmed missile is concerned? What more needs to be done by Pakistan? We know that the important envoys are going to be also taken into confidence. That was what Shah Mahmood Qureshi Sahab also said. But what more, in your point of view, needs to be done?
Well, I think, first of all, it could also be, a reason for India to draw the world's and its own people's attention away from its economic failures. And what else Pakistan can do, I think, could include, reporting this matter, not only this, but the previous matters, to the United Nations Security Council, share this information officially through the Foreign Office, with our friends, with the P5, with the OIC. I'm sure, the Foreign Office is already doing that, and it is actually on these lines that our response is being matured. So I would say once again that India needs to actually stop all these provocations, because these provocations ultimately could go out of control, and it could lead, to a serious conflict in the subcontinent, which neither India nor Pakistan can afford, because of the economic well-being of their people.
That is so true. That is so true. Thank you very much, Brigadier General Raza Mohammad Khan Saab, Defence Analyst, joining us online and talking to us about this continuous spate of incidents that is happening from across the border, and the latest of it being this unarmed missile that hit Pakistani airspace, entered Pakistani airspace, and remained there for a couple of minutes on the 9th of this month. Bilawal Saab, when it comes to India, when it comes to Pakistan, and of course Pakistan's importance, geostrategic, geopolitical, as well as its relationship with the different countries. You've talked about its relationship with China, but of course the relationship with other countries in the region is also extremely important, with Iran, with Turkey, with Russia, and of course its relationship with the West. We have had an OIC conference in December. We are going to have another one pretty soon by the end of the month. How should Pakistan mobilize all the other Islamic countries as to have a united stand against such elements that try to destabilize Muslim countries or even countries in general?
Well, firstly, Pakistan should have a meeting with all the Islamic countries, and should you can call it should have some discussion regarding all the activities against Islamic countries that they are trying to do. What is the solution of this? So all these Islamic countries should take out solution firstly. Either that is economical issues, or either that is, you can call it illegal activities that we are doing within a country we are trying to do. So we need to get out of these all issues. First, every country, every Islamic country should work on their policies, what they have, on their vision, what vision they have, on their strategy, what strategy they do have for their country. First, they have to look their own country. Once they get out of these all issues and take out the solution of these all issues, then these all Islamic countries should be on one page and should focus on those important things which will change the future of the Islamic countries. The first thing where I'm looking is that all Islamic countries should work firstly on their economies. The second thing that they have to work on is on their vision. What vision they have for their country. After working about all these things, they will clear their self how to decide things for the betterment of Islamic countries.
All right, and finally, about the Indian aggressive designs against our country, and we see a continuous, spate of such incidents, not since now, but since always. In fact, India has one way or the other, directly or indirectly, whether it be through Afghanistan in the past as well, in Fatah and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. There have been so many attempts by India to destabilize Pakistan. Pakistan has always responded in the right manner. Our forces have fought very important wars against terrorism just to repulse all such activities. What, in your point of view, should be Pakistan's point of view now vis-a-vis India in the coming days and months? Should Pakistan become more aggressive? Should Pakistan respond exactly as it has been doing right now? And what should be, in your point of view, somebody who is a member of the parliament as well, Pakistan need to do on different levels as far as informing the world that Pakistan has been doing through different dossiers or otherwise? What could Pakistan do more? Because I think Pakistan has been doing a lot to inform the world of India's aggressive designs.
Well, the violation that India has already done, this is not for the first time. It has been from so long. First, the Foreign Office of Pakistan should call the United Nations Security Councils, and they should discuss this issue, that why they want to have uncertainty in Pakistan, why they want to have instability in Pakistan. What is the reason behind this? We should show this to the international world. The land that from last 20 years they are using, Afghanistan land, for the illegal activities such as terrorism. Terrorists are coming all the way from Afghanistan, and the Pakistani armed forces, they responded immediately, and the struggle that they have been doing from last 20 years to save our country, to save our people, is the like you can call it is the achievement of Pak armed forces. But my suggestion or my opinion is that we shouldn't have any positive in visas or e-visas. We should have the same old plan that we are having for the India.
All
because if they are we are trying our best to have good relationship with the India. Pakistan civilian, Pakistan armed forces, Pakistan government always try their best to have good relationship with India. But unfortunately, India is doing the same illegal activities as they...
And it has different connotations to it.
Exactly.
It has a political angle to it as well, because
Exactly.
they garner their votes through that.
Exactly.
And then, of course, they want to have their big brother image in that region as well. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Bilawal
once again.
Afridi Saab, a Member of Parliament, to have joined us and to have talked to us about this incident, which is, of course, a continuation of the aggressive designs of India towards Pakistan. Let's come to our last two stories, ladies and gentlemen. The first concerns a report that has been made by the United Nations, and that asks Washington to investigate the US airstrikes in Syria that killed civilians. This was also told to the press through a United Nations War Crime Panel. The investigators have called for findings to be made public and to be shared by the press. They have said that those who are responsible should be held to account. A recommendation also to the United States and all parties to conduct credible, independent and impartial investigation into the incidents entailing civilian casualties in which their forces are implicated. I mean, this is no hidden secret about what has happened in Syria, about what happened in Yemen, about all the different incidents that have engulfed the Middle East as well. What is very important is that the perpetrators of this be held accountable, whatever their designs might be. A lot of civilians gave their lives for it and passed away. So we need to hold the people who are behind this accountable, and I think it's a step in the right direction. Finally, Iran says that the US is complicating nuclear talks. We know that the JCPOA is going on. The JCPOA, the deal that had been scrapped by the United States, is now again, there are hopes that it might be reinstated. A lot of positivity emanated in the last few days. There was a draft that was also shared of the new form of the JCPOA, but Iran continues to have a lot of question marks as far as the future of the JCPOA is concerned. It says that the sanctions that it was put under by the United States of America need to be completely withdrawn, and for that the US is not ready as we speak. And this and so much more that is happening in Ukraine and elsewhere as well has caused Iran to also question the US designs as far as the future of the JCPOA is concerned. It says that the US is complicating efforts to reach a deal. Whether this deal will be reached or not, only time will tell. Let's remain optimistic on that note. With that, we come to an end of today's newsroom. We'll see you inshallah on Monday with news stories and segments that pertain to US and Pakistan. Stay safe, follow the SOPs. Have a great weekend. Allah Hafiz.